Community Viewpoint with John Pollock and Maria Hurst.
Oh, sorry. I'm reading this book. I couldn't put it down. I'm back, John Pollock, your host for this segment of Community Viewpoint. There's a reason for that. We're going to have a special guest. Maybe she's not as special as she was because she's been here for the second week running. You are special. I have Francine Winters with me again this week. We're going to be talking about her book, her new book, Sharks and Minnows, The Jolie Chronicles. And I will get off the camera and let's go to two shots so we could show you the special guest. You are special.
I'm special.
And
we're going to sound like I'm mentally challenged.
No, you're not.
I'm mentally challenged, and I wrote a book. That's really exciting.
So yeah, I'm all excited about this because I've known Francie for a whole bunch of years, and you've done many things. You've done yoga. You've worked with kids. You've worked with adults. Mm-hmm. You've been at WestCare with the Nye Community Coalition now, and you've done, before that you were with the Parks and Rec?
Right, yeah. Yes. I have a long history. With, I started off as a storyteller in the parks back in the like 80s, and then they after a couple of summers I became the boss.
Okay.
And so I started in Parks and Recreation, and I was also doing talented and gifted programs for performing arts kids, multimedia, that kind of thing in both the Newburgh school districts and in Portland Public Schools.
Portland where?
Portland, Oregon, not Maine. Yes, Portland, Oregon.
Portlandia, as they call it now.
Portlandia, they do. Yes, I have seen that.
You were there before it got popular.
Well, I don't know. Portland and Oregon. There's a certain amount of just you go to my hometown of Eugene, and it looks like the 70s. They're still in Birkenstocks and long skirts, and it's kind of
they're comfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable. Yeah. But the thing is that I grew up. People read. And people read a lot. And I grew up in a very strong theater town with a lot of intellectual people. There were, I was, young, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And I just had so much admiration for the strong women and the smart and strong men, and around. And they just learned so much. It wasn't just the theater itself; it was the intellectual parties afterwards. The conversation was absolutely glittering back then. And I thought that was part of theater because that's where I grew up, and it really wasn't that way in other places so much. Not as much. Eugene is just a very, very strong, intellectual, creative little town, and they do theater that rivals anything Portland did, like back in the years when I was there. But that's where I think I really started to get my idea about writing. Well, I'd written as a child, write this for creative writing, and I wrote 68-page stories, honest to gosh. I mean, they're pretty embarrassing. They probably borrowed a little bit from every popular book that I had ever read.
That was your apprenticeship until...
Yes, that was my apprenticeship. No, right. And then I raised kids, and I was writing. I was always writing and raising kids and working and writing. And so I have this whole body of work, and they're in computer files and hard files. And now I've just kind of got to that point where I am absolutely determined to throw my stuff out there, and maybe a few people will read it, maybe more than that will read it. Mm-hmm. But it's foolish to do the creative work and then keep it all to yourself. So I'm being brave and stepping out there, and actually we've gotten really great reviews.
Yes, and this basically takes place in Las Vegas.
It does.
So then I knew a lot of the places I was reading about, but then a lot of it holds true for Pahrump too when you're talking about the trailers and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I used to do girls groups for juvenile probation when I was at WestCare, and those girls were so amazing, and they were they had such difficult lives. Not all of them, but as a majority, a lot of wonderful girls that I wish we could have had a class with their parents. But the girls were just amazing, right. and they had so many strikes against them, and I think that there's a lot of people that judge. You're juvenile probation, so they judge you. But if people had to walk in their shoes. Some of them, they would just be puddles. And these girls, they're getting up every day, they're getting dressed, they're going to school, they're trying to keep their grades up and everything. And I wrote Jolie, the lead character in here. She is a compilation of those girls.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've read his. Jon Stewart, I think, well, he says he reads the whole books. I don't know if he does or not.
Maybe as an assistant that reads it.
That reads them and tells him what to say in his ear.
I don't know.
But yeah, I've gone through some of this book, and I will finish it because it is very. It makes me feel like I'm back at Westcare too,
Really?
because I was thinking about some of the stories that when I was a counselor over there too. So it took me back there, and I know where you're coming from.
But it's not all a downer. I mean, and it's also exciting.
No.
And I have had some friends who are honest psychics. I mean, they really were severely gifted.
Yes.
And that's where I get the piece of where Jolie is severely gifted. So there's so many magic stories where the kids are going along and they have, the challenges of dealing with this magic world, but they always seem to have an awful lot of money.
Oh, okay.
They always seem to have resources. Jolie
no money
has
in
nothing.
here. No money in here.
Yeah,
Right.
she doesn't have money. She's struggling. She's trying to hold it together. And plus, she has these gifts that she has no idea what to do with. But it moves, apparently. Like I said, we've gotten really good reviews on Amazon. And the common thing I'm hearing is you get to a certain point and then you just read the whole thing, in one sitting. Or it's one person was very cute. They were like, "It was a flashlight under the covers book." I thought,
my
well,
God,
that's
yes.
a cute thing to say.
Yes, that's sweet.
So yeah, so I'm encouraged.
And this is your first
That's my
book?
first one. The first one to come out, not the first one I wrote, but the
Okay.
first one I finished polishing off. I was writing science fiction fantasy for years, and then I started writing children's books. And I was a storyteller, and I was doing children's books activities and performances, and it made a lot of sense, But there's a zillion of them. Everybody has a children's book. Everybody has a fantasy book. So I decided I needed to write for something that was a niche that actually needed more material. So I wrote a teenage book, young adult book, and then my next book is we'll talk about that later, another time.
But this is considered what was it?
Genre? Yeah,
It's
young adult.
Science fiction or fiction?
Paranormal. I guess they
Paranormal?
call it. Yeah,
Okay.
they would call it paranormal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're able to get this
Yes.
where?
Oh,
Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's all over the web that way. Yeah. It's easy to get. You can look at the reviews and stuff, and we've been lucky. And actually, I'll be. I will just done a book signing. I guess this comes out right after the book signing. But
Yes.
yeah.
Timing is
If
everything.
you see it on YouTube, you'll get there in time. For
Yes,
the book
we'll
signing.
have this up on YouTube as soon as possible. Thank you, Patrick.
Lovely.
But this would if you were at the library on Saturday, you saw Francie there.
Yeah, and I go under EF as an author because one of the things that I learned early on when I was in Los Angeles writing screenplays was, I was 25 years old and blonde and little, and if I wrote EF Winters, I got a lot farther because my writing didn't put me in a slot of she's this little tiny woman, pat her on the head kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from that.
Well, it was the 80s,
Yes, and also here's E.F. Winters here in this past week's Mirror. There's a wonderful article about you there. That was Robin that did that, or Carl?
It was Carlton.
Carlton.
It was very nice.
The lovely.
of him. That was-
I was going to say lovely Robin to lovely Carlton.
Lovely Carlton, yes. I'm sure he'll like that.
Yes.
Very talented man.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, it's exciting. And I thought it was really cool to, because I went to Connecticut for a few years, but to be back here because this is where the book is about. And this is where the heart of the book came from was the girls that shared their life with me, and they're so openly and gave me their trust. And so, I'm hoping some of them will show up, on the weekend maybe, or something. But it's good to see them around town doing well, working. Some of them have children and families and things. And, you know how it is when you see the success stories and you see them. So that's really, really wonderful, and I'm thrilled, and I'm thrilled to be able to have written and got it out. Yeah, I got it out.
Maybe I'm in a magnet too, because they're two of my longest friends here have written books. Mary
Yeah.
Wilson has done that. She used to be on the town board, and she
Yeah.
wrote a sci-fi book,
Uh-huh.
and she's in her second book now too. And now you're writing too, so I don't know who's coming up next. There'll be
Yeah,
a
you
writer.
don't know.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that, my belief and why we do so many programs like we do at the Coalition, and even when I was at West Care, my idea was to do prevention work through the arts, because I think that when people
Yes.
have things inside themselves that they feel they really need to get out, whether they get it out through dance or music or writing or drawing, painting, whatever that is, it's a deep-seated need, to communicate with the world, their vision, their feeling, sometimes their pain or their joy. And I just think it's vitally important to the health of each individual to find that outlet. And that's why we do the work with the kids that we do, because if they don't get a chance to explore and find out, oh, I'm really good at whatever that is,
Right.
then maybe that'll get lost, that voice. And they might be, that next important author, that next important lyricist. And I just don't want to lose any of them. I think that our artists are vitally important to our community's health, to our individual health, and certainly our health as a society, because who holds up that mirror to us and shows us what we're doing right or wrong better than our artists?
Oh, that's what we say anyway.
That's what we think.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's our way of thinking. Yes.
Historically, but when you were back in the old days, the storyteller kept track of
The
everything.
storyteller was really big in
It
those
was.
days. Yes.
It was. It was really important.
Yes.
Too important for 1 minute.
Yes. Yes. I used to watch there's some guy with a little green hat on. He looked like Peter Pan on TV. He was on Channel 11, WTTW in Chicago. He was a storyteller.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of his name, but when I was a little
Yeah.
kid, I remember he would be
We had
telling us stories.
Wanda,
Did
the little
you?
fairy, Wanda. Yeah.
Yes, that was very important
Yeah,
when we
it
were
was.
younger. So,
Yeah.
but I thank you for sharing some time with us. And Sharks and Minnows, it's on Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble,
Yep.
and you'll probably be able to find it on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Just going to E.F. Winters. Or,
All you have to do is Google Sharks and Minnows. It comes right up.
All right. So we're just about out of time for this segment. I appreciate you spending some time with us, E.F. Winters, and we'll see you in the next segment. Thank you.